Hi, I'm Danny Crouch from Choose Your Chapter, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Some people will simply scroll past, and some people will hang around for a minute or two. For those of you that are honestly interested in making some changes, we'll hang around until the end. So congratulations to those of you who do. We believe that this video we intend to share with you will add value to your life, especially at this time of year when we all look to resolve bad habits and fix our weaknesses in order to become the person we want to be this year. So why would you want to watch this video until the end? Well, modeling from the great Simon Sinek, we always start with why. Why should we post here? Well, we want to discuss forming better habits to create more happiness, enjoyment, and success in our lives. We want to form habits of strength because that's how we achieve success in our lives, by focusing on our talents and developing habits of strength. So, why do we want to discuss habits of success or habits of strength? Okay, let me tell you a story from when I was growing up. I was about 5 years old, around the time I started school, and like so many other kids, entering the schooling system for the first time, I had to leave the comfort of my nest, the home I'd been brought up in, the only place I'd experienced in my entire life. I didn't know what it was like to change environment, change what I was used to, even change my habits. So going to school was out in the big new world. I was confronted with indifference, with change, and with strangers. People who didn't know me, kids thought I was different, strangers who were yet to accept me, let alone even accept themselves. So at 6 years of age, I had thick, wavy, jet black hair. You can only imagine this now as what's on top is, well, let's say made for comfort. Anyway, the hair was not quite as cool as an afro. And as you can see, my skin was a little darker than most. And this was not the norm. I was different. I was not understood and definitely not accepted. I was picked on, I was ridiculed, and I was bullied growing up. I was different, and that had a huge effect on the next 35 years of my life. I started to form habits. However, they weren't resourceful habits. They were habits of fear. They were habits of failure. They were habits of worrying too much about what other people thought. The fear of not being good enough, the fear of not belonging, which is the fear of rejection, and the fear of not being loved by others. How could I possibly learn to love myself? Wow, what a foundation to start molding such a young child's mind to form habits for the rest of a lifetime. Does this resonate with you? Have you formed habits of fear or habits of failure or rejection? Because almost everyone on this planet has. That's why they call them the 3 universal fears. So what are we going to do about it? And how can we manage these fears? How can we change these habits? Well, what if I said it was simple? Now hear me out. I didn't say it would be easy. I asked, what if I said it was simple? How is it simple, you ask? It's simple by learning to focus on your strengths. And this doesn't mean going to the gym and bulking up to stop the bullying. We're talking about your mindset strengths. You see, at the age of around 5 or 6, we start to form innate talents because we're all talented in our own unique ways. However, unfortunately, most of us don't know how to develop our talents into strengths. We're 6 years old. What do we know? We play in the mud. Our world is about 10 people wide, and simply walking down the end of the street is far enough for us before we become scared. Yeah, scared. Here we go again with those fears. Anyway, so when we form these talents, we then have the choice to learn how to develop these talents into strengths. And if we're fortunate enough to learn how, we can spend the rest of our lives doing so. And it's with thanks to a gentleman by the name of Donald Clifton, the founder of positive psychology and a company in the United States called Gallup. You may have heard of them. They manage the Gallup polls for the federal elections and so on and so forth. They're one of the biggest data and research companies in the world. And one of their main focuses is studying human behavior and how you may develop talent into strength. Based on their many years of global research into human behavior, they've developed an online tool called the Clifton StrengthsFinder. It ranks your unique talents out of 34. The most common way to consume the data is to look at your top 5 talents. The tool is brilliant. It literally changes your life, and I speak from experience as it changed mine dramatically. That's not where it stops, because as we know, learning isn't just about reading a textbook or listening to a teacher. Are you following along here? Because actually, there's a chance a few of you may have what we call the activated talent, which probably means you're all ready to begin now. You want to start forming your habits of strength, which is cool. So if you have to, go ahead and fast forward or scroll down to the bottom of the page and find out how. But let's allow the others to finish watching and let us catch up soon. We'll see you shortly. Or just drop your email in here. Or connect with us now. Send us an email to danny@chooseyourchapter.com.au with the heading Habits of Strengths, asking for more information. Or you can connect on Facebook or PM us, whichever you choose. Simply act now. Form a new habit, starting now. That is, if you have the activated talent. The best methods of learning are about first experiencing the information and then embedding it into our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. But how do we do that, you ask? Great question. And this is how we begin to form habits of strength. First, we read or learn, then we apply. We put it into practice. We actively engage in what we learn into the real world, and this actually takes time. And if you really want to apply it, then we teach it to someone else. Because if we know it well enough to pass on the knowledge, then we must know it pretty well. And let me tell you, if you're listening to this or reading it and think there's a quick fix, unfortunately, there isn't. Yeah, it takes time. Time, I hear you say, but I'm already too busy. I've got 2 jobs, 4 kids, no time for my partner, no time for sport, no time for reading, actually no time for anything I used to love doing. And besides, all that, I hate my job, I hate having no time, I hate being unorganized, etc., etc., etc. We've all heard the story before. But don't you think it's time to change that story? Well, let me ask you these questions. What are you focusing on? What you do well, what comes naturally to you, and what you enjoy? Or are you trying to fix your weaknesses by any chance? It's okay if you are, because most of us do. However, if you're aware of it, like some of you are now, that's cool, because you can do something about it. And if you're not aware of it yet, that's cool too, because that's why we want to help. And that's how you can benefit from starting to form habits of strength. By first becoming aware of what it is you focus on. Are you convinced yet? Do you want to go join those activators and skip ahead to the end? Go on. The sooner we start forming habits, the better, I say. You see, I have the activated talent in my top 5. So connect with us now. Send us an email. You've got it there, danny@chooseyourchapter.com.au. Put the heading in there, Habits of Strengths, or you want more information, or simply connect with us on Facebook or send us a PM. Whichever you choose. Simply act now. Form a new habit, starting now. That's if you have the activated talent or one similar. Actually, if it's okay with you, would you like me to share my top 5 talents with you? So at number 1, I have a talent the Clifton StrengthsFinder calls Maximizer, which in its strength form is someone who sees the good in something or someone and wants to make them bigger, brighter, better. Wants them to have an excellent life, wants them to be happier. Number 2 is what the StrengthsFinder calls connectedness, which means I connect things on a massive, massive scale. So people strong in the connectedness theme believe everything happens for a reason. Then we've got number 3, which is ideation. So I'm full of ideas. It's often described as having fireworks or popcorn exploding off in your head. We have an idea, then we have another, then we have another. So if you have an idea, I'll connect it with other ideas. I'll connect it with people and other things on a massive, massive scale. And then, as I said, number 4 is activator. So I love getting things started. If you need action, go to an activator, because that's what activators do. They start projects. Or I like to start your ideas in a motion to connect them with other ideas, other people, and other things on a massive, massive scale. Make sense? Then, to round it all off, my top 5, my number 5, as according to the Clifton StrengthsFinder, is futuristic. Now, that doesn't mean I have the ability to predict the winning lotto numbers. However, what it does mean is I can see and feel and even sense where things are going. In other words, I love to start your ideas and connect them with other ideas and people and other things on a massive, massive scale. All because I know where they're going to end up. That's my strengths. So, how does that sound? Empowering? Or does it sound like I'm bragging? And that's okay if you think I am. Some cultures and societies, even generations, consider it wrong to brag. It's thought of as showboating or incorrect to tell people what you're good at. Here in Australia, we call it the tall poppy syndrome. So let me ask you, what's so wrong with being proud of what you do well? Why would people prefer to hear things that I've screwed up in my life? Would it make you feel better? Would it allow you to feel human because you screw up all the time? Does it make it easier to hear I've had bad relationships? I've lost a lot of money on bad business decisions, said things to hurt people or judge people or things even worse? Well, that's not a world I want to live in anymore. And it's not the community my friends and colleagues want to live in either. Do you? Think about it. I told you it would be worth staying until the end, didn't I? Now, let's just add something in here. Yes, we want to focus on our top 5 talents and avoid spending too much time concentrating on our weaknesses. We avoid looking at number 34. However, we're aware of these lesser strengths, as we like to call them, and we want to learn how to use our top 5 strengths to balance out how we perform in the other lesser talent zones. Or better still, we form partnerships with those around us who don't have the talents we have, and we develop our lesser strengths through the talents they have. Now, to give you some background on how powerful the Clifton StrengthsFinder tool is, the chances of you and I, or anyone else for that matter, the chances of us having the same top 5 strengths in the same order is 1 in 33 million. Yeah, 1 in 33 million. That's more than the entire population of Australia. And what that means is we're all unique. Now, let's take you back to a time when you were at school. Imagine you were great at some subjects. Let's say you scored 90% on an English exam. However, you weren't so great at other subjects like math, and you may have only achieved 40% on your exams. Do you remember which subject your teacher would suggest you go home and study? Now, when you return home with that report card, your parents may have congratulated you on your great marks in English. However, which subject did they send you to your room to study? Did you answer math? If not, you may have been fortunate to have great teachers and great role model parents and an awesome support network. However, most of us were told to study our math, our lesser subject, our weakness. We were advised to concentrate on our weakness. Can you see the power within you? It was suggested we become more well-rounded if we became good at everything. However, if we continue to spend our time on our math, what happens to our English marks? What happens to what we're great at? Chances are English marks would begin to drop. So our math may improve from 50 to 60%, yet our English would start to drop from 80 to 70, even 60. What does this mean? It means everyone begins to become average. So the questions needed to be asked are, what if we focused on what we're great at? What if we focused on what we do well, our talents? We should focus on our English. Then learn how to language our talents and develop them into almighty strengths. In other words, focus on our strengths. And we can. It's really simple. Now, that doesn't mean we ignore our maths or lesser strengths, aka weakness. It simply means we learn to utilize our strengths to enhance what we don't do so well. Or better still, we'll form partnerships and friendships with others who have strengths we don't have. So we focus on our English and they focus on their math. We perform better, and hey, we may just learn a little bit of math along the way. However, we don't need to focus on it. Perhaps you're a high achiever or a strategic thinker. Maybe you build relationships through your positivity or your ability to understand another person's perspective. We have members who are great in arranging and communicating or simply getting things started. Maybe you're great with new ideas or giving others significance, or love fixing things. Have you ever met someone with extreme focus and discipline? Well, these are just some of the 34 talent themes Gallup and the Clifton StrengthsFinder have identified in all of us. So, how do we then apply these talent themes to develop them into strengths? Well, firstly, you have to establish your top 5 talents according to the Clifton StrengthsFinder. We call this naming your strengths. Then we begin to claim those talents for our own in order to be able to own them. How? Well, the best way we know is by having a conversation with a strengths coach, like me. And there are plenty of them all around the world. However, we appreciate some of you may not feel comfortable talking with a stranger or a coach one-on-one. So, we've developed a 10-week online live group training course called The Habits of Strength: How to Develop Talents into Strength. Now, about the benefits you'll receive by completing this course. Firstly, to simply identify your top 5 talents is a shift in itself. However, when you begin to claim and aim your strengths is where the paradigm shift will occur. And don't get me wrong, for some of you, it will be uncomfortable. However, as a good friend of mine who also happens to be an awesome strengths coach, Sarah Dina in the UK says, how about it's time to get comfortable with being uncomfortable? I love that saying. Well, we'll also delve into your learning about your purpose. Do you even have a purpose? Do you know your why? Well, we'll also look at establishing habits around time management, goal setting, being better organized. We even talk with highly successful business owners in different industries on how they formed habits of success to create the health, wealth, and happiness they want for themselves and their families. We look at the habits of being mindful, habits around health and well-being, as I said, and a really important one, the habits of celebrating, taking holidays, celebrating the little victories we have. How long's it been since you took a holiday or just simply took someone out to dinner? We've also got the habits of relationships, the habits of communication. So when was the last time you celebrated anything great in your life? Or are you still focused on what's not going right in your life? It's okay. Remember, the first step to changing is by becoming aware of it and then forming better habits. I'm sure you've all heard it before. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So, do you want to start creating different results? Do you want to create change? Are you ready to begin forming better habits? Well, you know how to. Drop us an email. Put in there, ready to go. Is this now an awesome time to form habits of strengths? When, if not now, would be the right time? Well, the Habits of Strengths course will commence on Tuesday, the 17th of January, 2017. We're accommodating friends and coaches around the world because we have friends and coaches from all parts of the globe. So we're starting off with 2 groups, one at 10 a.m. and one at 8 p.m. And that's Greenwich Meridian Time plus 10 or Australian Eastern Standard Time. So we're ready to help you depending on where you're at right now. And yes, we mean both figuratively and literally. Where are you at geographically, and where are you at emotionally and physically. So if you prefer another time because you're in another part of the world or another state, we have more groups starting on different days and times in February. Simply ask, your choice. Each group will only be a maximum of 10 people, and both morning and evening groups are almost full, so we only have a few spots left. However, by the time you see this video or read this post, it may have already been filled, or it could be past January. So simply contact us to find out when the next group begins. Just email us at danny@chooseyourchapter.com.au. And if you prefer a one-on-one coaching, we can offer that too. We have over 34 coaches based all around the world. So you may find one in person or online, your choice. A 90-minute complete strengths profile analysis will create your habits you never dreamed of. So before I go, and in honor of my number one strength, I've got to maximize this opportunity and tell you more about the value you'll be receiving. The course is normally charged at $495, which is $50 a week. But for the first 4 people who register for the course, you can have it for only $25 a week. That's $250 up front. Surely that's great value to create your habits of strengths and have an awesome 2017. Yeah, but I'm a maximizer, so I have to take it to the next level. So how about the first 4 people to contact me personally and sign up to the next course will receive a complimentary 90-minute strengths profile analysis, which is also worth $495. Simply contact us below and add in the subject box, I want to form my habits of strength. So now the next step is up to you. Which habits do you want to form? Well, I have to confess, as a maximized activator, I tend to take it to the next level again, so I've got to give more. So what we're doing, we've actually built a Udemy course. It's an online video platform for training and coaching programs. We've built a Udemy course, and if you contact us below in the email box that says Udemy course, we'll actually give you a voucher. It's worth $295. So sign up to one of our strengths programs and we'll give you a voucher for this free course. Actually, it's not free. It generally costs $295 for the public. You can check it out on Udemy if it hasn't launched yet. That'll be somewhere around the end of January. Line up now because we'll grab your email details and we'll warn you before it comes out because it's free for the first 24 hours. So you want to find out when. So drop us your email. If it's after January, send us an email anyway and we'll see what we can do. We've also always got some great specials on this course and you never know. There's a fair chance you may get a free voucher anyway. So as I said, it's time to focus on your strengths. So when are you going to decide to change your habits and start forming greater strengths? And trust me, there's so much more power in numbers, in partnerships, in friendships, because we don't have the talents you have and you don't have the talents we have. So when we combine those talents, we become awesome, awesome human beings. And hey, one last thing. If you've made it this far and you still want to change your habits, but think you can't afford it, well, my question is, can you afford not to? Trust this is not about the money. This is about you and what success you want to achieve. So if you can't afford $25 a week, then contact me personally. We have traineeships and internships that will match your talents. How do I know? Because there's a 1 in 33 million chance that we don't have your talents. Do you understand? So whether you're 14 or 45, reach out. Even if we have you posting on social media about strengths, we'll find a place for your talents because there's always a place for your talents in our world. My personal email address is danny@chooseyourchapter.com.au. You can also connect with us on Facebook personally or on the Choose Your Chapter page, or simply click on the links on our website. So finally, thank you and congratulations on making it all the way to the end. These are the defining qualities of people who want to create change, who do want to change their habits. So well done. You've made that great first leap. I'm Danny Crouch from Choose Your Chapter, and remember, focus on your strengths.